Hi, I'm Stefan, and this channel is about having a really great retirement, making the most out of it. I cover everything except really nitty-gritty financial details. Talk about finances a little bit, but I'm really about preparing yourself and then go ahead and executing a great retirement. So today I'm going to talk about when to retire. So we need to choose the time we retire. One of the difficulties of this is we've reached we're at our highest earning capacity, and it's real easy to say, hey, if I work another year, I'm going to have this much more money, my retirement accounts will grow, I'm going to be in a better position. Really hard to just cut that off and move. Usually it's from a full-time to a completely retired situation. In some cases, we have the option to move to a part-time, which is a nice transition if you can do that. If your financial needs are not met, then obviously, we need to wait until we've achieved that level of finances. But many people work beyond when they can retire comfortably, and they even work beyond when they have way more than enough to retire comfortably. So there are opportunity costs with that's years of your life that you're maybe not doing something that you would rather do. I'm not saying everyone should leave as soon as they can, but there is an opportunity cost to staying. So as I said, we're typically at the peak of our earning capacity. That's something that's kind of holding us back because now, wow, we're really making some money putting it away. Oftentimes we lack the confidence in our financial assessment. Do I really have enough? For me, as I approached retirement, I've worked all my life. Any dollar I had was a dollar I had earned that I spent, and my savings was just a number that came on a statement every month or quarterly. So, does that money really exist was my question. It does exist, but it's hard to trust just that piece of paper that comes in the mail. Oftentimes we're not sure of how much of a buffer we need in order to be safe. I'm an engineer. I like to be very safe in what I do. Other people retire and they take a little more risk. But I'm all about safety. In fact, I was a safety engineer. What can I say? I can't help it. We can also not be sure about the cost of our desired retirement. So when I was young, I heard older people talking about how retirement, you'll need about 80% of your income in retirement. Well, that's not true. I mean, how are you going to live a bigger lifestyle or a smaller lifestyle? If the kids are gone, maybe you move to a smaller house and you don't need as much. On the other hand, now that you're retired, you have a chance to do more things, travel, pursue hobbies. Is that going to increase the cost of your lifestyle? So we need to get a handle on those, and that's probably part of the anxiety associated with choosing when am I going to retire. I think one of the biggest things here is that causes people to work longer than they need to, and maybe than they should for their own circumstance, is simply not having planned what to do with all of that time. It's kind of a big jump to go from working full-time, have a very busy schedule, probably wishing you had more long weekends. We all like the 3-day weekends, and you're probably wishing, gee, I wish I could have 3-day weekend every week. But now you're going to go and you're going to have 6 Saturdays and a Sunday, and that's a big change. So I think that holds a lot of us back from the day. In my case, I just retired, and I thought about working an extra year, and then I said, well, wait a second. My career was 40 years. I'll have a greater take-home pay in retirement than I did when I was working because I saved early. And so why would I stay? I felt I needed to leave so that I could develop myself, become the person I want to be, and explore aspects of myself that I can't do when I'm going to work. So I needed a new challenge, and so I retired for the challenge of it. Now we need to figure out where our finances are, and there's a couple approaches. One is, so we want to compare our net incomes. What is your net income from working versus your projected net income from retirement? And I say compare net because you will have the same take-home pay in retirement with less gross income. There are some expenses that you will not have, and they can be really quite significant. And then the second thing to do would be calculate your monthly financial needs and compare that to this projected income. So move to the next slide. So we need to in order to understand these finances, start with what you're making, subtract Social Security. When you're retired, unless you're continuing to work part-time, you will not be paying Social Security. You will not have Medicare, deductions. You will not have your 401k deductions. And so this can add up to, Social Security is a little over 6%, Medicare I think is a little over 1%, and your 401k, you're doing 5, 10, 15% coming out of your pay. So that's money that you don't need to make anymore. You have commuting expenses. You will probably drive your car a lot more during your working years than when you're retired, because you'll have a lot of days where you stay home and do home projects, or you just go across town to a friend's house or to some local activity that you do, and it won't be as far as commuting. That's a lot of less wear and tear on the car. Your car is going to last longer. You can keep them longer. So commuting expenses are significant. Lunches out are significant. Your professional wardrobe may or may not be a factor. Now we're going to have some expenses that are greater in retirement, and potentially that's going to be healthcare, vacations. You've got a lot more time for vacations, so if you like to travel, if that's going to be part of your retirement experience, then we need to budget those in. How many trips realistically will you do in a year? It's going to be more than one if you like that? Is it going to be 4? Is it going to be 6? 6 would be kind of high, I think, for most people. And we're going to have local travel. So you'll have free time. You may want to go to local state parks or museums or just sightseeing locally, nice day trips. So that could increase your driving, and there might be some meals out there and so forth. So those have to be factored in, and just do an estimate of what that would cost. Then finally, hobby expenses. So now you have more time to pursue your hobbies, if you have any, and some of those can have costs associated with them. Is that going to be significant? So that's how we budget for our retirement, and how we can make sure that, yes, we have achieved financially where we need to be in order to retire. So there are phases of retirement, 3 phases, and a lot of people talk about these. One is the go-go years, and that's when you have pretty good health. You can go around, you can travel, you can get your suitcase up onto the airplane and the overhead bin, and you're good to go. The slow-go years, you're still feeling pretty good, but you need a little bit of help here and there. And then in the no-go years, it's not that they're bad, it's just that you are dependent on more help on, let's say, a day-to-day level, but hopefully you're still doing reasonably well in those years. So retiring earlier obviously gives you more of the go-go years. Now, I have a friend who retired in his mid-50s. He and his wife like to travel, and they go on professional guided tours. And they say that, traveling in their late 50s, comparing themselves to other people on the tour who are in their 70s, even 80, some of the other people are having a very difficult time just physically with some of the walking that's involved and stuff. So the earlier we retire, we're in a better condition, have more of those go-go years, and quite honestly, it can affect our health. We can do more things to, walk more, get in better shape. I had a very sedentary job, so being able to go out and walk every day is real important to me. All right, so other reasons to think about retiring, as soon as you feel that you have enough money, is you may live longer, because even though you're used to your job and you know how to compartmentalize that stress that you have, the stress does weigh on us. And I can tell you absolutely, not having to go into work, not worrying about a lot of the details of work has relieved a lot of stress for me. So that is a factor to consider. I mentioned the healthier lifestyle, not being confined to a desk in an office. I can get up, I can move around, change the pace of what I'm doing, is very beneficial. You may have an ailing family member or aging family member. Great opportunity to spend more time with them. We had my mother living with us until last year, so she passed away pretty much a year before I retired. And fortunately, my kids they would help out. My son would take her to the library. My daughter would take her shopping. My wife took her to all of her doctor's appointments, and there were lots of those. If I had retired a year earlier, there are things, and I did plenty for my mother, but, I would have had my weekdays and maybe could have taken her out for a little drive and just a little bit of stimulation. She would have enjoyed that. So those are some, that's a reason a person may want to set their retirement date a little sooner than planned. Okay, and then finally, the retirement is a chance to pursue maybe business opportunities, maybe hobbies. There may be something in life that you always wanted to do, and you want to show that you can do it. And so, yeah, great time. If you have the ability to retire and you're deciding whether or not the time is right, should I work a little longer? I can't tell you what the right answer is. I'm not saying that you should retire as soon as you can, but I'm also saying give some thought to what those opportunity costs are if you decide to continue working. All right, my conclusion slide. Number one, let's be financially prepared. So if you're on the approach to retirement, definitely take a look at what your finances are, where you'll be getting money from, how much Social Security you'll get, and work with a financial planner on that, one who's a fiduciary, and know where you're at. And if you need to make some adjustments now, do them sooner rather than later. It'll be a lot easier. If your work or business is what you love and it works for your lifestyle and you have the time you need to do the other things you want to do, yeah, by all means stay. Try to take some more time off. Maybe you can negotiate, a shorter work week. But if you love it, stay, definitely. If you have a bucket list that you want to accomplish, if you want to reinvent yourself and become more of the person you feel you were meant to be, then once you have the ability, by all means, retire and chase those adventures. And then finally is just whichever way you go, you probably will retire at some point. So I advocate having a retirement plan ready to go so that on the first day you know what you want to do. Okay, that's all I have today. Thank you very much, and have a great retirement.